Okay, so let's try and finish this part today. So already inhaling asbestos, there's no correlation between those things a priori, okay? But there's a phenomenon called explaining away, which basically tells you that if you actually know whether somebody has cancer or not, then these things become correlated, okay? So intuitively it's pretty hard to explain, I think, but there is another example that is a bit easier to understand. It's called the sprinkler rain example. So let's say that this variable here is whether the grass is wet in the morning, okay? And here it's like the sprinkler was on during the night and the grass was becoming wet, and here it's it was raining, okay? Now, if it's dry, right? So if you know that the grass is dry, and you also know that it didn't rain, then you are sure that the sprinkler was not on. Okay. Well, normally there will be some. These things are independent. Okay. On the other hand, in this particular case, if it's actually wet, you cannot really know if it's because it rained or didn't rain. But in the case where it was dry, then knowing that it didn't rain means that it also dry. So that's basically the idea. The other way around, it's the opposite way. So if the dependence is like this, then when you don't know whether there's a traffic jam or not, yeah, then the behavior of the two people might look correlated. But once you know whether there's a traffic jam, then they become independent. Okay. So this suggests there is actually an algorithm for designing whether or not there is conditional independence between two variables, but you don't have to know it anyway. Okay. Dependence, right? A. That's what this arrow means. Okay, so maybe the school would prefer more female candidates if it's an engineering school, so when it sees a female candidate, it puts them up on the list. You know? So you have to kind of differentiate between those two models somehow. Okay, and differentiating between those two models basically is measuring conditional independence. Now, as little exercises, I would like to all go through them, and they're very simple. So, like we did before, in the beginning we had this example where, oh sorry, it's here in the beginning. We had this example where, based on this model, every one of these basically links generates a factor linking two variables, and then we can write the joint distribution of all the three variables as a product between those factors. And here, while normally we would have